Get your rub on with Addicted to the Q.
Are we live?
We're live.
We're live. All righty, world. Welcome to another episode of Addicted to the Q. I'm Brian, and that's Brad. Well, okay, the one up there that says Brad, IT guy's Brad. With us, we have the bum himself. Well, the bum number 2, Weekend Bum, Kevin Hesse. Welcome
Howdy.
to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Brad, you want to kick it off?
Well, we do have a question for the comments. What is your biggest holiday fail? Such as catching a turkey on fire or burning ribs. Leave the answer in the comments. And the bum, what is yours? Do you have a holiday fail?
I do, and it wasn't actual. It was before stuff got cooked. So the first year of COVID, what was that, 20? We were supposed to have everybody over to our house, like 20 some people. Went and had to get fresh turkeys, all this stuff. Had them all in the fridge the night before in the garage, and the next morning I went out to check, and I didn't realize that the fridge didn't shut all the way, and they propped open, and I think it was at least 2, maybe 3 turkeys I had. They were not at a safe temperature. So just imagine the morning of Thanksgiving, scrambling to go try and find 1, grocery stores that are open, and 2, enough turkeys. Lucky enough, found like the last 2 turkeys out of the 6 grocery stores near me, and cooked them all up. And then found out that 2 of the people had COVID in a house that 11 of them were living in, so nobody came over. So I ended up cooking turkeys and delivering it to the doorsteps of everybody's house. So I saved it, but it was an epic fail because I didn't pay attention to, making sure the fridge was shut. So that's an expensive epic fail there. So
Madwood Barbecue made my first brisket for my wife's birthday and burnt up an electric knife trying to slice it. How tough was that knife? Or that brisket?
Turkey jerky.
That's great.
That's yeah.
Let's see. My worst one, I had to use the neighbor's oven to finish our turkey. And it all started with my oven died about an hour in cooking. I was like, hey, I got a smoker. I'll fire a smoker up. Well, let's just say the charcoal area burnt a hole in the bottom. Coals went out. Didn't know what to do. I was like, screw it. I just called my neighbor. He goes, yep, you're lucky I'm done. So I just threw mine in there. Went to Best Buy the next day and got a floor model stove, and I'm still using that stove.
That's crazy.
That's great. Mine, I decided I was going to make pulled pork one time, and it was with a master both electric smoker, and grease dripped right on the heating element and caught that whole thing on fire.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We had pizza that day.
Nice. Well, I got a question for the bum.
Yeah.
I'm just going to kick this off with barbecue rubs.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a 2-part. 1, what hamster was turning in your head that made you decide you wanted to bring out some product? And 2, how has that product been doing for you the last year and a half?
Well, why I decided to roll out a barbecue rub, I don't know. I guess I must have been really drunk probably about the same time I decided to actually go cook barbecue competitions. So neither one of them are the greatest ideas in the world. But no, with the rubs, I mean, before I actually got into competitions, probably like everybody else, I played around and made my own rubs. I thought that was the route to go. And then get into competitions, you realize there's plenty of stuff out there. So that's well made. That's very good. But over the past few years, just played around with some different things. I decided, okay, I'm gonna have some fun. I mean, that's the main reason I decided to do it. Let's roll something out and have some fun with it. So many recipes later, sent out a lot of tests to. I'm in sales, so I understand the process of letting people play with stuff and test it until it gets to what might work. And rolled out the first one, perfect, all-purpose rub. Just had fun. A lot of people love it. I enjoy it on a lot of different things. And then I need something. I like spicy stuff. I need something that's got a little bit of heat. So came out with the hot bum. I've been having fun with them. I'm in, I think it's 11 different retailers now. Kind of lost count. I can't say that, but so doing all right. The last few months, this is a slower time of the year in the barbecue supply stores for sure, but doing well. A lot of online stuff is going well for me. And then it's, I'm enjoying it, playing around. I've got a third one I've been playing with. I'm gonna test this one a lot longer. Just I want people to really try it at home and different avenues. I know you guys have been able to play with it and cook with it. It's been used in competitions, and some people are really liking that. Actually, we used it in my class that Robert Jackson and I did a few weeks ago on brisket, and the brisket came out pretty darn tasty.
Yes,
I
did.
think everybody's happy with that. But no, they've been doing well. I've been enjoying playing with that, and a lot of good people have helped me. I didn't realize there was so much into creating a rub, from not just throwing a bunch of spices together, but the whole, how do you get with a co-packer? How do you do your label? There's rules with the label and all that kind of stuff. And people like Brian, like yourself, Josh DeWitt, a lot of people have helped me that have been down this road before and gave me good advice and helped me with that. And it's still learning stuff, but I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying it. Last half of the year, or last few competitions of this last year, I cooked probably 90% with just my stuff, with maybe a few other rubs in there. And I got some good calls with the stuff. So it works in competition. And my next step is I want to make sure it gets out there to the general public. I'm having conversations with a few small grocery store chains and some stuff like that. And I'm hoping I can get into that. Maybe one day I can just retire and do barbecue rubs. I don't know, but we'll try.
That's the end goal. That's all of our goal.
Be like
Side
Brian.
hustle, baby. Side hustle.
Be like Brian, just sell rubs for a living, right?
Yeah, that's you got to sell a lot of bottles of rub at a buck or two profit at a time.
I'm still working a full-time job, guys. Yeah.
That's what people don't realize. The profit margin is not even on my sauce. When I'm starting thinking and getting it, I'm like, I'm adding how much bottles I have to sell to even get anywhere close to anything, and I'm like, that's a lot of sauce.
But if you don't try, you're never gonna have a chance to get there. So you just keep working it, work different angles. So,
I'm going to talk a little bit more on the cooking, competing side of it. So when did you start competing, and where did the name Weekend Bum come from?
So I started my first year that I cooked. Well, first competition I ever did was 2015. It was an unsanctioned competition at my church. The year before, showed up to it with some friends walking around. I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. So the next year, a few buddies and I decided we'd team up. And this is how little I knew anything about. I didn't even watch Barbecue Pitmasters or anything. We all decided, we practiced, and then we showed up to the competition. There was 3 of us, and all 3 of us cooked all 4 meats. And we decided at turn-in time whose was best to turn into the box.
Think of the money you could have saved.
Talk about absolute chaos. I think brisket was the only meat of mine that was picked, and I think it was because I honestly believe that David and Corey figured we haven't picked one of Kevin's yet. We got to pick one. So, and we did. We actually got a second place chicken call. We called it rainbow chicken because David he knew what he was doing with the chicken. He actually took the fat off the skin. Well, to hold it on though, he used toothpicks, and his wife gave him colored toothpicks. And when we went to remove them, it left all the colors on there, so we called it rainbow chicken. It was an unsanctioned comp, so anyways. But so that was the first year. 2016 was my first year that I started spending a lot of money. And my first competition I ever did was the American Royal. Friend of mine had a commercial electrician want to throw a party at the Royal and said, okay, we'll cook, and found out, well, when you cook, you have to enter. And we did that. That was the first year at the Speedway. And then things just kind of took off from there. I can't remember what the second part of your question was. Sorry.
Oh, where did the name Weekend Bum come from?
Oh, yeah. So Weekend Bum, that came from, that was my dad's CB handle back in the 70s when everybody had CBs and everything like that. For you young kids, that's a cell phone that you have to have a big whip antenna and all that. So, but yeah, he was the Weekend Bum because he was always fishing or hunting somewhere on the weekends. That's what he was looking forward to each weekend. That's where he was off somewhere. So he had personalized plate before I did and all that. So I just kind of, chose that name as something kind of as a nod to him. So he would always joke every time I'd come out with a new shirt or something like that. And where's mine? Where's my royalty? That's me. So.
He owned stock in Bass Pro, didn't he? By the amount of stuff he had.
I think he was Bass Pro. Yeah, it's all the stuff we're preparing for the big fishing sale in March. A few of his friends came over when I was up there a few weeks ago, and we're sorting stuff. And just one of those Plano boxes that I think I posted, a lot of people saw. He's like, this brand new is like $150. He's like, it's just, and there, what I posted like 8 or 9 pictures. I'm not kidding. There's probably 30, 40 of those easily.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, a story was told. One of his friends said they'd go up to South Dakota, walleye fishing, and they go into a store. Hey, you got any of these new flicker sheds in whatever size? Da 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 da. And he's like, yeah, I'll take 5. Another guy's like, I'll take 4. My dad's like, how many cases do you have? I'm like, what? And like, what the hell are you going to do with that? And he goes, I'll sell them to somebody. I'll do something. Or it's another way so nobody else would get them if they were a certain color or type. So yes, Dad was a believer. If you had one of something, you needed to have at least 2, 3, 4, 5 or more. So
yeah.
So Last Call Heroes Barbecue says, what's up, homeboy?
What's that up there, buddy? Old Duffy.
Oh, Duffy.
Old Duffy.
So he prepared you to already be poor when it comes to a hobby, then, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's he's a believer in spend the money while you have it and enjoy yourself while you can. So it definitely, and that's been my motto. I definitely enjoy myself. That's for sure. For those of you that've been around me at competitions and otherwise, so like to have fun.
I think Duffy was trying to shake off you. He said, "Are you going to tell us all your bum secrets?"
Ooh.
Yeah, if you can understand me, I might sound like Travis Kelce. So,
so is Taylor Swift going to the Royal with you this year?
Taylor Swift wants to come hang out with me at the Royal. She was welcome to. My daughters might actually show up then.
Are they Swifties?
I hate to break the news. I couldn't tell you Taylor Swift's. I can't tell. I'm one of those that can't play that game, that name that tune. I can't tell you who's singing it or the name of the song. I could sing it, but I have no clue who it is. So I wouldn't be any good at it. But yeah, she wants to come hang out. Hey, that's fine. And not a Chiefs fan. I think everybody knows that. But if any Chiefs want to come out, they ain't going to bother me. I don't care. It's football. It doesn't bother me.
Are you happy the Chiefs won?
It was one of those things. I wasn't going to win either way. I'm a Steelers fan. Didn't want the Niners to get it, tie 6. I didn't want the Chiefs to win because I didn't want to have to listen to everybody in Kansas City for another year. But it is what it is. It's good for my city. Good revenue. Everybody's happy. So we'll move on. There's another season around the corner.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys will probably win again. So
Let's get back into the rub side for competitions. When you layer, do you go 2, 3, or 4 layers?
For competitions, it depends on what it is. Something like chicken, I actually started, and I picked this up in a class I took a year ago, 2 years ago, I guess it probably was. And it makes sense. Chicken, I actually combine the rubs. I use 2 different rubs. I combine them just because with chicken, it's different than the other 3 categories. It doesn't really soak in like, pork and beef. You put it on there early and you're letting it soak into that meat and create it, it's helping create a bark. Chicken doesn't really do that. You got skin on it, and everything else. So I actually combine those ahead of time. Combine them, put them in a shaker, and put it on with chicken.
Okay.
With the others, let's see. On ribs, I use 3. Pork, I was using 4. I've dropped it down to 3. And brisket, I'm using 3. So 3. I've been as high as 4, 5 at one time. I think on brisket early on. Probably why I never got any calls. But I think in competition you have to, unless you find the exact right rub, I think you probably have to at least use at least 2. Depending if you're trying to get a heat factor on there. If you just want a subtle bit of heat, put a little bit of that on first, and then you put your other rub over the top, so it just kind of comes through a little bit. Or if you really want to, add a punch to it, put that on second. So that's the first thing that your tongue hits and what have you. But the other factor I've learned, this is something that I wasn't as familiar with, or I would honestly, I would forget most of the time, is a finish rub. So I don't count that in the rubs that I use, but the finish powder, that's where I've learned more. You can get that punch that you need, that little pop to separate it. So I rely on a lot of that more for a lot of that part nowadays.
So Patrick Allen asks, have you always cooked on drum smokers?
Oh, Patrick, my Des Moines assistant. I can't make it to Altoona this year, Patrick. I'm sorry, man. It's Easter weekend. That won't fly in my family. But no, I haven't. I started like you had mentioned earlier, Bradley. When I started smoking, my first smoker was a Masterbuilt electric smoker. I thought that was the shit. I cooked. I have literally cooked everything in a Masterbuilt smoker that you can think of. I've shoved a big old turkey in there. Did everything. Loved it. Moved on from there. My next one kind of went from one extreme to the other. Then I have a Cook Shack PG 500.
Yeah, that's kind of extreme one.
Made a big jump from one to the other, and then shortly after I got that, that's when I got into comps. So I would take the Cook Shack PG 500, and I had a Riptangle. You guys familiar with Riptangles at all?
I have seen some of those. They're square drums, pretty much.
Rectangle shaped. I can't remember his first name. Ripplemeyer's last name, out of St. Louis. I don't know if he makes them anymore, but man, they were beautiful, beautiful smokers, heavy duty, heavy. You could put a full pan on them. And yeah, basically it was a rectangle sized drum is what it is. Cooked just like the drums. As a tank, you couldn't kill those things. I bought one of those. I would, when I started, I had a minivan with a landscape trailer that I bought from Lowe's. And that minivan would be full as you could get, and I would have to carefully balance a Cook Shack, which is not light, and that Riptangle on that trailer to make sure that I wasn't swaying or anything. And started with those, and towards the end of the first year, I found I got to go cook with Chris Bonemeyer at Code 3 Spices at a competition over in where in the world was it? Somewhere on the outside of St. Louis at a competition. He had Hunsakers, and I fell in love with them. So I bought two used Hunsakers and started cooking with those, and that's what I've done for comps. Is just on those I have cooked. I do have a rec. I still got the Cook Shack that stays at home. I do have a Rectech Bullseye. Love that thing. I've done some People's Choice stick comps with that. I take that along with me. I got the Weber kettle. Trying to think what else. I've cooked on a few others. Nothing that I've owned. I've got to experience cooking on an offset with some friends. I haven't done the actual cooking, the fire management, but got to see how that's done, and that would be really cool to do. But that would require a whole new trailer and everything else, and that's not going to happen. So I just keep with my Hunsakers. They're treating me right.
They are very good drums. You always talked how good they were. I'm like, they can't be that much better than my regular ones. They're insane. Like, I still check my temp every 10 minutes just because I'm so used to it, but that thing doesn't move.
Well, I'm one of those temp Nazis. I'm constantly staring at that thing. That's me. I mean, I know Brian's been with me at comps. He knows how I am when it's going on. I'm back and forth at the timeline, back and forth. It's all in my head, but I'm still staring back and forth. I want to ask a question because I haven't heard Brian talk about on A's Pocket. Brian, years ago, you used, before I was into this, you were actually doing competitions, and then you got away from it for a while. So, one, how long ago was that? And then two, what were you cooking on back then? What
now it was about 16 to 17 years ago.
Okay, wow.
When did we go down to Nick Davis's first comp? Was that 3 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
Yeah, so that was about 14. So we're about 17 years now. And I was actually using offsets.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you saw a drum, kind of like Burkhart was like one of the originators coming out working on drums. If you saw a drum, you're like, and no offense to him, so please do not get mad at me, Eric, but it was like, look at this hillbilly. What the hell are they doing? They have no clue what they're cooking on.
No, that's in hits. There's a video where Eric tells a story at the American Royal. Some guys walked by and made comments about him and Snail.
Yeah.
Said something about these hillbillies cooking on these, and they were like, well, watch these hillbillies win. And guess what?
It's a lot of people were thinking that. It was not just me. It was like what the heck? Today, years later, is like, oh my gosh, these things are the new era of cookers for barbecue comps. More and more teams are using them, and it's nuts.
Yeah.
Well, anybody that knows Eric knows he's not the fanciest person in the world. He'll give you the shirt off his back and help you out any way he can, but he is not by any fancy.
I did a competition, Code 3 Spices in Smoking on Maine. The second year was there, and I wish I could cook that. I'm always out of the country for work that weekend, but that's a great comp if anybody wants to go. Those guys do a great job. But I remember I went over to see Eric. He was down from me, and I looked at his smokers, and you couldn't even read the thermometers. There was so much grease and grime on them. And I said, I'm like, Bubba, what are you doing? You got to cook. He wiped it off, and he goes, Kevin, dirty wins or something to that effect. And I just died laughing. So, yeah, I've gotten a little bit better. I try to keep my drums pretty clean, but I'm not quite as concerned about them as that.
Yeah.
Brian, to follow up though, so you offset. I mean, that was quite a few years ago. Things have changed dramatically. You and I have had these conversations. Yeah. So you told me when you were cooking, because I remember you freaked out when you first came. What do you mean stuff can be trimmed? Like you couldn't trim stuff beforehand when you used to cook, right? At comps,
there was. I mean, rules have definitely changed because there's things where they're like, no, we've got to do a meat inspection first. It's got to be original sealed packaging. I'm like, whatever. And now I'm seeing this. We got to do a meat inspection. I'm like, okay, Kevin, your stuff's in a vacuum sealed bag from home. Like, we're effed. We're up a creek. No, you do this. I'm like, oh man. stuff is changing, and no one like Smoking Ghost is now getting in part of the KCBS the board or whatever. Are you international board
I'm
or
on the American Royal International Committee.
yeah? So
yeah,
being on that, you're seeing like what we had 5 years ago. They're coming to you like last year, this year with some different ideas how to change things. I didn't know any of that when I was like, yeah, I'll come help you out at the Royal. 14 years later, I'm like, man, stuff has really changed.
yeah. You were freaking out. You're like, Kevin, you can't have this. I'm like, yeah. What are you talking about? Well, my first year, I didn't know any better. I'd show up. I was trimming. Yeah, I maybe ribs. I don't trim stuff. I don't wait till the comp if at all possible. Well, I mean, many people have seen. I travel for work quite a bit. I've trimmed in hotel rooms before. So.
I've seen those photos.
I can tell you, the hotel room's usually cleaner when I leave than it was when I showed up. I can promise you that.
Smelling like a body bag.
Yeah. Trying to sneak down the back stairs with a bunch of trash bags with trimmings to go to the dumpster. People are looking at you pretty funny. That's for sure. Oh, don't cut yourself in a hotel room. There aren't any first aid kits anywhere in a freaking hotel. So that doesn't go over too well either. So
you're carrying a body bag out with a cut finger. That's
I am surprised the times that I've done it because I don't want to leave that stuff in the room. I'm not going to do that. And I'm dumping this big hit bag of people, and somebody sees me every time. And I cannot believe that nobody has called the police to come find out what in the world is going on.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, yeah, because I can't imagine not having to wait to trim to a contest. That's insane.
Yeah. No, it's... I know some and like so the Made for KC competition, the one that's I call it the airport competition.
Yep.
OG Bandits won last year and Smoking Magic won the year before. That one this last year they provided all the meat, so you did have to trim that at the comp. So that's a little bit different. You got to get there definitely plenty early. Depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
If they're providing the meat, everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's dealt the same.
I heard
good or bad or whatever.
I heard chicken was not the greatest last year.
Chicken drew a lot of complaints. They went back and they got different chicken for everybody. Cause I think I weighed my thighs because I weigh my thighs. I think they were 3 ounces after I trimmed them. I'm like, oh God, I don't even know how to change my timeline to do this. And but everybody had the same stuff. So, it is what it is.
Your timeline, just cook it like a chicken wing.
Pretty much. It was, what did I get a call? I think I got a call on brisket there out of the 4 meats. So,
just cook it like Josh Het's drum heads that he makes for his legs.
Yeah. That's true.
So, Brian, I'll let you ask another rub or a kind of question or marketing or a business question in general.
Well, actually, I'm excited. I just want to hammer the elephant in the room right now. So, Kevin, what happened to you on Friday night?
Friday night?
Oh, yeah.
Friday night.
That was last night.
Last night.
Friday night. Man, I'm old. I can't remember what happened 2 nights ago.
Last night. It was last night. What happened to you last night?
Well, I had entered my rubs in the Fine Barbecue I think it's Fine Barbecue Competitions rub contest. Entered them in, and Hot Bum in the beef category. Hot Bum finished 7th place out of I think it was 66 or 67 entries. So was pretty happy with that. There's rubs entered from all over the country in that competition. So 7th place for beef, and I've used that on all kinds of beef before. So I was pretty happy with, and that's the second year in a row. Last year, coincidentally, perfect, finished 6th place in beef. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that. That was pretty cool.
That is, congrats.
Well, thank you, but you had to up me. You got how many calls, Mr. Sofa King?
I got 3, but this is about you.
I will say I have used hot bum on brisket, and everyone loved it.
Yeah. Well, but Brian, and you know, one of my favorite rubs of yours is that KC Twisted Texas rub, and you got 2 calls.
2 calls on that. I think it was 7th chicken and 2nd place beef.
Yeah, 2nd place in beef, and then your top secret, which is a American Royal 2nd place rub.
Yep.
So Sofa King top secret got 9th in pork. So
yeah,
we both represented Kansas City well with that. That was a fun deal. So
I need to create a seafood rub.
Yeah, I told Brian earlier before we got going. I said I entered the seafood categories and I did it. Neither one's really lend. Seafood is a whole different animal when it comes to, so you need to have different citrusy notes and stuff like that. And mine isn't, so I'll save my money next year. I don't think I'll enter in the seafood categories.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun.
I died laughing though whenever in BBQA when they tried to say Sofa King and the lady just said it fast and it literally sounded like she was cussing and everyone in the room just started laughing.
That's the best. That was the best.
Yeah, and I haven't. I mean, this is the only rub competition I've entered. I think I'm gonna turn in this year. I'll turn mine in for the American Royal just to see where we stack up. I know there's tons of great ones out there. I mean, JDQ, freaking both of his DeWitt's, they're awesome. I use them in competitions, so I mean he's deservedly so gotten the calls that he has, and then Brian's yours has been great. So, but I'll enter that just for the heck of it. I think I missed the NBBQA entry form by the time it came up. The form was buried in my desk somewhere, and I just forgot about it. So, but yeah, it's part of the fun. Part of the fun of creating a rub and playing. And the one thing that with these, it's really like a competition. You create at the competition, we get our meat together and we do all our process and everything that we do, we cook it and go through everything, and then we turn it in, and it's up to these judges. And everybody's judges' palates is different and all that. With this rub competition, I don't know how much rub they're putting on the meat. So, are they just doing a little sprinkle? Are they doing a layer? How long are they letting it soak into the meat? All that comes into play. I don't, and unless I missed it, I don't even know what proteins they're using for it. I'm sure it's basic chicken breast and pork loin, something like that. But it's still that all comes into play with that in there. So, but it's interesting. But again, everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's in, so it's go by the rules. If you don't like the rules, I guess you get out of it, right? So,
yeah, you don't win, try again next year. I mean, it's like a real comp. I mean, you pay to play.
Yep, that's true.
So, Brian, do you want to address the other element of the room, the announcement that we were talking about making?
Sure. Hello, world. Welcome to Addicted. No, I'm kidding. We already did that. Brad and I have kind of talked, and Kevin has talked to both of us. And we all three feel equally combined, 33% repeating, that we would like to bring Kevin in as a third member of Addicted to the Q for our YouTube, our podcast, just so we can keep it running smoothly. We have Kevin with fresh ideas and a whole different black book of contacts to bring on for all of you watchers
Yes.
or listeners to really enjoy a lot more than what just Brad and I can give you on our measly La Petite budget.
I haven't signed my offer letter yet.
It was $1. It was only $1.
That's more than I get for anything else, so that's good.
A free hat and a free shirt.
For this?
No, it's yeah. I mean, we talked about that, and I mean, I think it's great to be that you guys, want me part of this. I just love talking barbecue, and we've talked about different ideas. I know where you guys want to grow this, and I've got some ideas to help with that, and I think we're gonna have some fun with it and enjoy it. And I like to talk, so that's not going to be an issue. And it's a good thing you do these on Sunday nights because I won't be drinking while we do them, or they could get really entertaining. If you've ever watched the interview with Greg Hasty's group at the Excelsior Springs, that was quite entertaining. So
Chicken fried with chicken fried gets pretty entertaining too.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. So maybe we'll have to do
maybe we should start randomly once a month start drinking during this and see how it goes.
If I ever don't have to get up on Monday morning, we'll see. So
well, let's shout out to your sponsors too while you got a chance to get that on here.
I've got Legacy Home Group, Yvette Lopez, Remax Realtors. She's been a sponsor of mine since before I was even cooking sanction comps. So she's definitely been a partner of mine. I've done classes for her and all kinds of stuff. Great supporter. Yeah, she's located here in the Kansas City region. Matt Gorman with Kansas Farm Bureau has also been a supporter of mine since day one. I've known Matt for 20 years, I think, or more. But he great. I have a lot of policies with Matt. Sofa King is a sponsor of mine. Appreciate Brian helps out with a lot of stuff, and I love using his products, and we talk about different techniques and everything. Jeff Hawker with American Family Insurance in Excelsior Springs, Missouri, has been a partner of mine for I think 3 years now. Great guy. I've known Jeff for many years. Hunsaker Smokers, not an official paid sponsor, but Mark and Ryan are bar none some of the nicest guys in the world, and they have helped me since day one that I've started cooking on their products. So I will always help promote their stuff. Chigger Creek, charcoal and wood products. Nick is fantastic, a great guy. His wood burn or his charcoal, his lump burns very clean, very hot. Great stuff. In fact, I'm going this week to go pick up my bags for the upcoming year. Trying to think. Oh, the Uppercut KC, located in Kansas City, right outside of Liberty. They raise Akaushi. They raise all their own cattle, Akaushi and Angus. Well, Akaushi is a Wagyu. There's only a handful of ranchers in the United States that have license to raise those cattle, and they're great. In fact, I posted another brisket the other day. Beautiful briskets. Tyson. In fact, I'm wearing Pig Kahuna, old Tyson head butcher, wearing his team shirt right now. So, but I know I'm probably. Oh, can't believe I missed these guys. Sunflower Tow in Kansas City, Kansas. They can tow anything. They can tow semi trucks. They can tow cars, boats. They can tow barbecue trailers. So last year, when my bearings blew out on my trailer on the way to Excelsior Springs, I called up Luke. I said, I need help. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do during the rush hour, of course, on I-35 in Liberty. And Cody shows up, and I said, okay, what are we going to do? He goes, I was told to follow you where I'm taking you to the competition. And so freaking pull up, and here's Joe Pierce and Greg Hasty and Doug from Love to Cure staring. They're like, what in the hell? I'm like, well, it's wear and tear in your truck, so just have it towed in. So,
show the contest in style.
Exactly. So those are my main sponsors. Everybody who supported me, I appreciate everything that they do, and none of us can do this hobby without support one way or another. And they're definitely. I know all of them personally. I do not believe in taking on a sponsorship of something that I don't believe in. Just to take a product or take something. That's not how I roll. Oh, I can't forget my newest one. I am part of. Man, I feel like a fool. King Louis, Meat Apostles. I was
I was
chosen.
sleeping on that one too. I should have reminded you.
Yeah, I was chosen for that, and again, like I said, I know a lot of people have options to apply for all these things. It doesn't mean I don't use other products, but I want to know the person. I want to use their products. If I know I'm going to be able to use them in different avenues, whether it's at home or in comps, and I got to play with some of his stuff, man. And I haven't even tried them all, Bradley, but I need to figure out how to create rubs like this guy. Those rubs the flavor is just popping in those things.
They do.
Yeah. So plus he does a lot of great things with the high school teams and stuff, and I want to try and get more involved with that.
He has been a great person and supporter of the show and everything since day one. So we can't say that. Yep. So there's something else I was going to ask you. I'm just trying to think about it now. What was it now? But Brian, you're
going to ask him if he'd sell the square trophy.
Well, I probably couldn't afford it if he did.
I was going to say that.
You were going to ask him if you could roll up his ratchet straps.
That was it.
Yeah.
I don't roll them up. I just throw them in a milk crate.
You're not allowed in my camp either. Brian knows I'm very particular on those things.
No, I was going to ask. So, how many trips to Disney World do you think you could have made if you did an intercompetition barbecue?
Oh, geez. Actually, as much as what I've heard, so I lived in Southern California at one time, and we had season tickets to Disneyland.
Yep.
It's kind of like belonging to Worlds of Fun if you live there.
Yep.
Yeah, it pays for itself after like 3 trips or something. Disney World, we've been there once. I don't ever need to go back. Not that I didn't have fun, but I don't need to go back. But I've heard it is like 3 times what we paid back then, and that was 10 years ago, 8 years ago. I don't know. I don't know. I could probably go a good number of times, but it's I enjoy this more.
I went when I was a kid, and I did that. It's just Brian can tell you it's a very nice, expensive trip, isn't it?
It's fun. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff to do, but I'm not a huge fan of crowds, and I don't need to go to Florida or California to ride roller coasters and stuff like that when I can ride them here if I need to. So
I would have to agree. So
I love Florida. So when the wife found out NBBQA last year was right next to Disney, she was like, instead of you spending $1,500, let's go spend $7,000.
And take the kids to the world.
Yep.
So I think that was all the questions I had for him, Brian. Do you have anything else?
I don't, but you should shout out our sponsors.
That's what I was getting ready to do, actually. So before we sign off tonight, I'd like to thank our show sponsors, King Louis Meat Apostles, Rum Runners, The Good Charcoal, Springer Mountain Farms, Butcher Barbecue, Hunsaker Smokers, and I'm missing one. I did what you did last time.
Inkbird.
Thank you. Thank you guys for your continued support, and the Bum, we look forward to you joining our team.
So am I. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys. And
next Sunday, 8:30.
Next Sunday, 8:30. Okay.
I would tell Brian to remind you, but he forgets too. So
well,
I'm reminding him now.
I actually have a class next. Yeah, I hope I'm back by then. So I should be back. So
that sounds good. We'll see you.
Not teaching a class, taking a class. So
his first one as a member, and he's gonna miss it. He's fired. He's fired.
No, he said he may not make them all. So
it's all good.
Sounds good.
That's why we'd like to have you with us. So if one of us does miss, at least we still have two of us members able to run stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. No, we'll have a good time, and I think we'll. I like the ideas we have of get ready. I think, and everything's been great you guys have done, but there's a lot of barbecue podcasts out there, and I know we're trying to find ways to make us a little bit different.
Yep.
Than what everybody else is doing. So I think you probably going to get to see some guests that still have to do with cooking and barbecuing and stuff like that, but probably some people you haven't spoken to before, and get to hear some different things. And I think we're having a lot of fun. I think this is going to be really entertaining. So
I agree. Yeah. So look forward to some big announcements.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Thanks, guys.
All right, everybody have a good evening.
See you. Good night, everybody.
Kevin.
Go out and get some. Later.